Hello, everyone. So it seemed like everyone had a confused look on their face yesterday as we did the review with Mr. Goldberg for Decision Science. So I was nice enough to set this video up just to help you guys out because I know some of you don't like to show up to class. I get it. So there's going to be 5 sections that's going to be covering for the test, and it's pretty much going to be project or the folders number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so right now we're going to be hitting number 5, and there's going to be 2 methods on this one. It's going to be the northwestern corner method and the low or least cost method. And so we're going to go ahead and check out 2 examples per section and then techniques. All right, so first we'll look at this problem, and this is the transportation problems. And so this one's pretty simple. This one was the one that we had to do for the project, if you guys did it. And so we'll start with this one. And all you need really is this one right here. That's all the information that you need. And so we'll just go ahead and write it down. And so you just pretty much write the graph. Just trying to make it look pretty for you guys. All I'm doing right now is just matching the numbers that is given to us on this graph, and I'll show you in just a second. So I could just show you in detail what I just did. So you can clearly see that from A, B, blah, 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 yada, 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 right? I did the exact same thing. The only difference was I did a little slash here on some boxes with a diagonal line, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in the maximum amount of supply into the demand. So this is usually the demand, and this is usually the supply. So there's 2 methods, and so I want to be doing the northwestern corner methods first, another one NWC, and all you do is just start from the upper left corner. So you just go ahead and max out. So you look at this and you say, how many do you need for this section? 400. Well, you already have 400. So you already maxed out on the 400, and all you need is 400, so you cross that out and put a 0. Cross that out, you put a 0. And I know Goldberg always said to cross this section out when you're done with it and you can't give any more, and then you cross this section out. So all you're left with is these 2 sections. And so you go ahead and max these sections out. So how many do you need to fulfill this obligation? 300. So you subtract 300 from this, minus 300 to make it show all my work, be 500, and that will equal 0. And now this one's maxed out, so you don't need any more. And then whatever's left over, 500. That will equal 0. That will equal 0. Cross those out. Alright, so that's the first section. Now you have to calculate the total cost. So the total cost is, all you do is pretty much multiply these numbers in each box. So in this section, I usually start from top left corner down to each column. This makes it very organized so you don't have to be all confused. So 0.02 times 400, and then you go back here, 0.03 times 300, 0.02 times 500. And the total cost is going to be 27. And that's all you do for the northwestern corner. So for the least or the low cost method, you draw the exact same chart, and I'm going to pause so we don't have to see me draw the whole chart again, okay? So hold on. Okay, we're back. So I went ahead and redrew the chart. A little sloppy, don't care. All right, so on the low cost method, it's pretty simple. All you're doing is looking for the lowest price on one of the boxes here. So again, this is the demand area. This is the supply area that we're supposed to be providing the demand. So as we can see here, I hate saying that. All right, so you have to look for that, the lowest price, and this is obviously going to be 0.01 out of all the boxes. So we want to max out as much as we can for that one. So what can we do is we could provide 400 to the demand. So that equals 0. That will equal 100. And so we cross this part out because we can't give any more to any of these areas. Now we look for the next lowest cost price, and we can see that we could give 100 to 0.02 here. Okay, hopefully you guys know what I'm doing. We're providing pretty much minus 100. We're providing 100 here to this guy. And that's all they need. So we're done with this portion. We cross this out. And now this doesn't matter because they're the same price. So you just go ahead and give the rest to these guys. And so that would be 0. You provided 400. You provided 300. So you pretty much cross everything out here. So now all you do is multiply these together and you add them up. And so we have here 0.01 times 400, 0.02 times 100, 0.03 times 300, 0.03 times 400. And that's going to equal, which is the minimum cost, 27. So on this one, it didn't really matter. They both equal the same thing, but I know he's going to probably want to see all your work to show that you know these two methods. Again, northwestern corner and the least cost method. And I actually have rules that I use for these methods, and we'll do another example in just a second. So here are my rules that I wrote personally. So for the northwestern corner method, I start with the upper left corner and max each demand area. Hopefully you can see the whole thing, each demand. And we can see here that we maxed it out as much as we can to this areas to fulfill this obligation. Number 2, I cross out each row or column that has been maxed out, and then I go to the next. So again, I maxed out the 400, so I crossed that row and I crossed that row. And then when we maxed out here, we just crossed out that row. Then when we maxed out here, we crossed out both rows. Then you continue this process until all the demand levels have been met. Again, everything's all good, 0, 0, 0, 0. And last is now multiply the price with the quantity for each box individually and add them all together. That will be your cost. And that's what we did here. We multiplied this part here, this part here, this part here, and we added them all together. That's the minimum cost. It all depends on what they're asking for on the question. So in this question here, we see that they're looking for the minimum cost. All right, hopefully this helped. I'll provide another example in just a second.